everyone who relocates wishes to relocate with the family at the same time, but it's not everybody that has that luxury, even though the type of visa might allow them to relocate at the same time. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I relocated with my family, my husband, my 2-year, 5-month-old, and my 2-month, 2-weeks-old babies. Let's get into the video. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Midwife Jamie. On my channel, I talk about life in the UK, beautiful practice in the UK, and I share my experience as an immigrant living in the UK as well. If it's your first time being here, kindly subscribe, hit the like button, and share the video. To my lovely returning subscribers, thank you for the support. I relocated as a midwife on the health and care worker visa to the UK from Ghana. The sponsorship offer you get is likely the full sponsorship for the main applicant. So if you are coming with your whole family or your dependents, all the costs that you incur about them is your own cost. You only get support for the things that your trust or your offer has stated for you. When we thought of relocating, the first country that came to thought was Canada. I started preparing for my IELTS with Canada in view. At a point, we realized that the proof of funds is really huge. It might be very difficult for us to raise that amount of money as a family and relocate to Canada. During that time, we got a friend who came in the scene and said, no, it's easy to relocate to UK as a midwife. You don't need to pay any money to anybody. You just do your exams, do your registrations, and they fully sponsor you, the main applicant. Then we got the idea and said, no more Canada. Let's get to UK. When we are in UK, we can move wherever we want to go. At least we'll be able to gather some amount of money. That was when we got the idea of relocating to the UK. So I started my IELTS preparation in January 2022, and I start for the first one in April. I'm saying first one because I did not get it on the first attempt. Yes, I didn't. You are not alone in this situation. I didn't. So the first one, I got an overall band score of 7.5. In fact, I got 7.5 in reading, 6.5 in writing, 8.5 in speaking, and 6.5 in listening. So the listening got me to write it again. I had to prepare, so I didn't want to leave a lot of gap to forget all that I had studied. So I gave myself about 3 weeks and I start for the exam again. And ta-da! I got it. So at this point, I got overall band score of 7.5 and I got every score that I needed. I got 8.0 in reading, 7.5 in speaking, 7.5 in listening, 7.0 in writing. So if you have written it once, twice, thrice, and you're not getting it, if you feel like you really want to relocate, gather all the strength, gather all the money, do it again, and you will get it. Just make sure that all your preparations are on point. I did the preparation on my own because I didn't really have time to attend lectures, tuition, and all those. So I did my own preparation on YouTube and all the information that I found on Telegram. So whilst I was preparing for my IELTS, I sorted my clearance out. So before I sat for the first exams, my clearance had gone through already. The next exam that I wrote was the computerized based test, so the CBT. I prepared for CBT for about a month and a half, and I sat for the CBT in May, and I passed. The moment I passed, in fact, the same day I wrote the exams, I started looking for job on track and many other places. Thankfully, I got my first offer in August 2022. Yes, that was when I got my first offer. So let's talk about how long the process took for me. So for me, the process lasted about 15 months, so like a year and 3 months. It could have been very short because looking at when I started preparing for my exams and when I got my first offer was really not a long period of time. But I was pregnant. I was heavily pregnant at the time I got my offer, so I decided to deliver before I relocate. Expect a video on relocation and pregnancy very soon. Now, relocating with your family, especially when kids are involved, can be a little bit stressful. It needs a lot of preparation. It needs a lot of money. So you need to start saving. It needs a lot of encouragement and determination. In fact, you need a full support system to be able to do this at once. Now, let's look at some of the documentations that you would need before you'll be able to apply for your visa and relocate with your family. So the first one I'm going to talk about is your offer letter. So your offer letter is really important when you're applying for your visa and for the visa of your dependents. The second one you would need is your certificate of sponsorship. So you can't relocate with your family when your COS has not been released. There is a place on the COS that would be checked or will be checked that it is covering your family. So as long as your family or your dependent is covered under your COS, there will be no need for proof of funds. The next document you would need is your valid passport. So get the passport for yourself and all your family members ready. The next thing you would need is your marriage certificate. So if you come in with your spouse, you will need a marriage certificate to prove your relationship. Now the UK Home Office is asking for more documents, or they are asking for additional documents to prove relationship. So I would advise that your tenancy agreement should have the names of the two of you on it. For your bank account, you've got the same address on the two bank accounts. It could prove your relationship. It could prove your address. If you can pay bills together and get your names on the same documents, it's going to help your application. The next document you would need is your birth certificate. All your family members should have their birth certificate. In fact, I'm going to stress this one. Get the federal birth certificate. When I gave birth to my last girl, they gave us a temporary certificate that's going to last for 9 months. So that was what we used when we were applying for the visa for her. And we got a mail back from the Home Office saying that we need to provide the federal birth certificate for the last one. Thankfully, that was the same day the federal certificate arrived. So we just had to scan it and send it to them. So make sure that everything is on point, not to delay your visa whatsoever. The next document you would need is your TB certificate. So you need TB certificate for all your family members. In fact, it's a mandatory document that you need to provide. If your child is less than 11 years, they are not going to undergo the x-ray or the imaging test. The doctor would literally assess them and ask questions about their health. They would auscultate their lungs, and if everything is okay, they are satisfied with the health of your child, then they would give you the certificate. And they don't pay as much as you pay. They pay half of what you're going to pay. The next document you would need is your police certificate. Your children would not need police certificates if they are less than 18 years old, but you would need your police certificate. I would advise that you don't rush to do a police certificate because it's going to expire within 6 months. So if you are sure of getting everything done within 6 months, then you can apply for it. The next document you would need is consent letter. If you are coming with your kid, you would need to draft a letter with your spouse that says that the two of you are responsible for the kids in the UK. You need to sign together and send it. These are all the documents that you would need before you be able to relocate with your family. Let me say this before I forget. Your spouse, who is not the main applicant, does not need to prove any English language requirement. Now let's get into the cost involved. It is really costly relocating with your whole family at the same time. It will be very hard for me to tell you a round figure. Things have changed. The prices of things have really gone high. So I can't tell you a round figure as to how much you should be expecting to spend relocating with your family. But there is good news because you can find the cost or the price of everything at the right place. So for example, if you're looking for the cost of IELTS, you would get it on the British Council website. If you need the cost of CBT, you can get it on Pearson VUE website. The price of police clearance, you can find it out in your home country. The price of your UK NMC registration will be found on the UK NMC registrations website. The next cost you would be considering is your TB test. You'll be able to find out the price on the IOM website. Then you need to pay for the clearance from your regulatory body. You need to pay for that as well. So find out from your regulatory body in your home country how much you need to pay to clear yourself, and then how much you would need to pay for your visa is also available on the UK website, and how much you need to pay for your flights is also available on the particular flights website. So if you want to use British Airways, you will find it on their website per the date you are traveling and all that. The last cost I'm going to talk about is the accommodation. Usually your trust is going to give you a single occupancy accommodation. So if you are coming with your family, under no circumstance can you use such an accommodation. It is not allowed. The first thing you need to do is to inform your trust that you are not going to use their single occupancy accommodation because you are relocating with your family at the same time. time. Who knows, they might get support for you in that regard, but usually it's just the single occupancy that they offer. So it's best to let them know so that if there is any refund plan about that one, they can get that to you. If you don't let them know and they book a place for you, you get here to let them know that you are not going to use it. They might not refund anything to you if they have a refund plan. So just let them know that you're not going to use it. And if you have somebody, you know somebody in the UK who is willing to host you, praise the Lord, good for you. If you don't have anybody like that, then I would just suggest that you start looking for accommodation. Airbnb is not sponsoring this video, but we found ourselves an Airbnb, and later on we found a more permanent accommodation. We got to the UK in March and we have been here till now. This is my relocation story. Have you got any more questions for me? Were there some things that you were expecting me to say that I didn't say? Just leave me a message in my comment section and I'll be happy to attend to them as soon as possible. So it is really costly, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of preparation, a lot of dedication, a lot of determination relocating with your family, especially when kids are involved. Start planning, start praying, get everything in its right place. See you in my next lovely video. Thank you.